Hey, Kasi.
Hey, Chetan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Hey, Ajmal.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good morning. Morning.
Morning.
Hello, Ajmal. We cannot see you yet.
You are able to see the picture?
Yeah, even your picture is not coming, Kasi. I see a stock photograph.
You see a stock photograph. Let me turn my video on.
You look very nice in that photograph. Tie and a suit and all that. You look like a executive, you know.
How about now? It's going to come.
Okay.
The real me.
I think both are real. As it is just
not yet.
We dress up differently for different occasions. Yeah, now I see you. Yeah,
okay,
good to see you.
Go.
Magic of technology. You can
That's
be
right, isn't it? Yes. You need to
can
turn the video on every time.
And it looks like you are traveling quite a bit.
I've been enjoying myself meeting Sampath and Hema.
Good.
Yeah.
Again, now, next week I'll be traveling again. Week from now.
Wow. Where are you going next week?
I'm going to Mexico on work.
Oh. Wow.
Lots of things are depending upon how this COVID thing works out. Looks like now they've got additional mandates coming in, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. We don't know, you know.
Yeah.
And Ajmal is, I think you are still in Doha, right?
Yes, Chetan.
Yeah. I think you are in a safer place because India also I read that it is increasing again. So, you know, here also, as Kasi says, even in Georgia, they are increased by 200% or something.
I see. Two times.
Because there are many people who are not vaccinated. They don't want to get vaccinated. So there is a huge hue and cry about should they get vaccinated? Should we or should we not? So I think all of us were in the line when it opened up. We all came in. So you know, there are other kinds of people.
Yep.
That's what we find out. So,
unfortunately.
So good, Kasi. I'm happy to see you are traveling a lot. That's good.
Not by choice. It's all work related. But when I went to Dallas, I took advantage of the fact that Sampath and him are there. So my wife came along with me.
Okay. Oh, you went on work related thing. I did not know. I thought
it was work related, but then we took advantage of it. We spent 3 days with
Gate is closed, Melissa? Huh? Gate is closed? Yeah, I'm not closed. I'm still waiting. Sit here.
That's your grandchildren, Ajmal?
Adam.
Ajmal, you are muted now.
Can you not control that, Chetan?
No. I didn't it.
Okay.
Yeah. He wants to play.
You are asking good questions, Kasi. My knowledge about Zoom, my wife knows a lot more than me. This is her account. So she does Zoom all the time. I only do it once in a while. And
so what does she do again now, Chetan? What does your wife do?
I said she does some consulting work, so she does use quite a bit for that.
Okay.
She's a special education consultant.
Okay.
You know,
Ajmal, if Adam wants to join, we'll be more than happy to have him on board.
Yeah, she is.
He wants to watch his rhymes in the television.
Oh, okay.
Adam wants to watch his rhymes.
Actually, I'm hanging around in my son's house in New Jersey. I'm also in New Jersey, so you know I am hanging around with my 2 grandsons here. So
that's nice.
They may also come in anytime. You never know. So
most welcome.
They may just open the door and say, "Hey, Tata."
That'll bring the average age down quite a bit.
Kasi, you said it. It'll bring it drastically. And it is fun also. They will make it extremely fun.
Yeah.
Hey,
I had
Matthew.
all 5 grandchildren a month ago.
Oh, okay,
It
good.
was nice.
Oh, you have
Nice
5
to see them
grandchildren.
after a long time.
Okay, that's good. Now I have 4, so you have 5. Hey, Matthew, good morning or good evening to you.
Good evening to me and good morning to you.
Hello, Matthew.
Hi, Kashi.
Nice
This
to
is
see you.
our date.
Yes, this is our date.
This is bad. We've got too much company.
Oh my God. I thought 11 is company.
Well, we'll do it some other time. Who's recording already?
Yes.
Yeah. This is being recorded. Of course, I set it up like that. When I set up Zoom, it just records from start. I did not do what Kasi does, so.
Okay.
So it has got all the yearly preamble and postamble and everything gets recorded. Kasi is a lot more efficient, so a lot
It's
better in all.
nice to have all these, I think all this preamble, as you say, makes it more interesting.
Oh yeah.
Are we starting?
We're waiting for a few more people. Hopefully there'll be more.
Yeah, Ajmal came in and went away. I don't know what happened. He dropped, so he has to come back again. So
Got disconnected, he says.
what did he say?
He got disconnected.
Oh, okay. Then he will come back. He will come back. So something happened. Hey, this is
Sampath said,
Sampath said he won't. But Sampath is a smart guy. He already Ajmal says he has some bandwidth issues. So let us see.
you can come in without the video if that makes a difference.
I would have thought Doha doesn't have these kind of issues.
It's not the IT capital of the world, no?
Which is the IT capital of the world nowadays?
Kochi.
Hey, Balu.
Hi, Balu.
Hi, Balu.
You're looking bright in yellow.
Yeah, I'm yellow today. Let to be colorful. You all wear different colors, then it will become rainbow.
That's true. We're not doing too badly. We need a green somewhere. I'm semi-green.
Yeah, you guys all have major discussions, and I see Matthew is in the center of it quite a bit. So good, Matthew. It is very good. You bring in a lot of, like when we get too serious, you bring us down to earth and say, hey, let's look at life. I like that. So that's wonderful.
Being serious is only good for so long.
Actually, I recall when the Yahoo group was very active. We have had some very, what should I say, lengthy conversations on spiritual, theological, philosophical discussions with Matthew. I recall many of them. And those days, in fact, Sukumar used to participate quite actively. Sometimes a few other people. But Matthew, of course, was always the sheet anchor.
Actually, Balu, I downloaded all those, when Yahoo went out of business, it gave us an option to, hi, Ajmal.
Hi, Matthew. Hi, Balu.
Hey, Sampath.
How are you doing, Chetan?
Good to hear you. So I'm happy that you are able to join in.
Yeah, I went for a biking and with my son, and then just now we finished it, so I thought I'll get in touch.
So Matthew, you were saying that you have kind of saved all those things.
All those messages that we had. Yahoo gave us that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Going through them, connecting the I like.
Hey, Murthy.
What we're doing now.
What have you said?
Hey, Murthy, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you.
You remember, Ajmal? All the philosophical Yahoo.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you should republish it.
I started this file called Musings over the years, and I've started putting them there. About 700 Yahoo messages to go.
Yeah, there is no end to reading them.
Sampath, what happened? I thought your son was in Barbados.
Yeah, but then I went for a biking and then finished it just in time.
Oh,
So I
good,
have
very
some
good,
time.
excellent.
So their trip was very short?
No, they did go, but we were supposed to do FaceTime and everything. I just finished it.
Okay. So it was not a
Hey,
physical
Murthy.
meeting, it was a
No, no.
virtual meeting.
Good to see Murthy. I think maybe we should start. Balu, do you want to start with asking Matthew to continue on Tanzania?
Maybe since I'm supposed to be.
Hey, can I do it
hosting,
faster?
I will
Oh,
say
you
a
want to
few
do it
words.
first? Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
Matthew, is it okay if Sampath goes first?
I'm tired.
Chetan, you have to decide whether I'm co-hosting or you are hosting fully. If
I
I'm
think-
co-hosting, I'm going to say a few words.
Okay, so
Go ahead and say your few words.
Balu, my suggestion is let's continue with Chetan, and next month, why don't you take it over with a new topic?
I suggested that, but then I got a pushback, so I'm asking.
No. I think it's all right. Go on.
So let Chetan do the whole job today.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Balu. No pushback, my dear Balu. It is just we were all trying to be friendly with each other. That's all. not to walk on each other's toes. Okay, Sampath, then it's your chance. So why don't you go ahead and I can share your screen.
Yeah, I really don't have the paper with me because I'm in the car.
Okay, but I have the screen. So do you want me to show you? What do you want me
Yes.
to share?
Yes.
Do you want me to show the photographs, or do you want me to see a write-up, or what do you want me to bring up?
I will start with the write-up.
Okay, so let me bring up the write-up. Okay, I have it here now. If I can figure out how to get it to share the screen.
Who is missing? What? Shankar Narayanan and who else?
Shankar Nayanar and Kumaresan.
Prakash is missing.
Okay,
Prakash.
I got it, Chetan.
Gopal, Prakash.
Okay, so we got the write-up here.
Yes. I just wanted to start with, we went on a tour of South Africa and Botswana in September of 2018 with 3 other couples, our travel companions, with whom we have done trips to Bali in Indonesia, Brazil, and Argentina. A very memorable 3-week trip. The initial leg of the journey was a guided tour of Cape Town, Swaziland, and Johannesburg by road with Gate 1 Travels. Gate 1 Travels are really good. They take care of everything, and they are very well organized, and they use local guides. And the next leg was Victoria Falls and Botswana with a private guide recommended by a close friend who has lived in Botswana for the past 20 years. Whites make 20% of the 40 million population. We started at Cape Town, a city of contrasts. Beautiful swanky buildings and upscale shopping at one end and poor neighborhood on the other. Not unlike many cities of the US. The city is still segregated into black, brown, and white pockets. After independence, some black politicians and influential blacks have moved to the white section, very small portion. Otherwise, not much has changed. Corruption has skyrocketed after independence. There is severe water shortage now, which was well managed before independence. Overall, theft is very common and murder is very prevalent in pockets of Cape Town and Johannesburg. After independence, the police force is controlled by the black people now. However, many of the duties are subcontracted to security agents run by the white policemen. Cape Town city is beautiful with lots of things to see and do. A visit to the Cape of Good Hope, extremely windy and cold, where we saw penguins was so delightful. Trip up Table Mountain by cable car with breathtaking 360-degree view of the city. An excursion to Robben Island, where we ran into Madras Medical College alumni on their reunion trip. The tour of the jail was where Nelson Mandela spent most of his time, was conducted by a former inmate that made it very poignant. Mandela's close associate was an intelligent, highly respected Indian who helped in strategizing, planning, and communicating the freedom struggle to the outside world from the jail. We made an interesting trip to Soweto Township, where Mandela lived in a small house. We also visited one modern apartheid museum depicting the freedom struggle, in which the guide takes you through the entrance to personally experience apartheid. Mandela started his movement as a violent terrorist before being arrested, and later on used non-violent methods. Our one-day and overnight trip to the Kingdom of Swaziland included visit to a local commune, the likes of Chaukidani in Jaipur or Delhi Hut in Delhi. We were treated to local dance and music and a visit to a sample hut of the people. Generally, we found the Black people were very friendly, polite, and humble. Although they were treated badly before independence, they have no grudge against any community. The road trip to Johannesburg, from where we flew to Victoria Falls, offered breathtaking view of the valley and halts at some very unique rock formation. We bid goodbye to our Gate 1 guide at Victoria Falls, which we did on our own. We saw the falls from both the Zambian and Zimbabwe side. Had a great Thai lunch in Zimbabwe, took a tour of the local craft and artist market. We are picked up at Zimbabwe by our African guide, Tony. Botswana is a list of must-dos for anyone interested in seeing the heart of Africa. Our guide Tony was a godsend and a National Geographic photographer with a 3-foot-long camera lens. He was quite unobtrusive and very efficient. We stayed in the city of Kasane, outside Shobe National Park. While Kruger National Park in South Africa offers a good safari, it is still very orchestrated and feels like a visit to Fort Worth Zoo in comparison to the hair-raising safari experience in Shobe. In retrospect, we should have done a camping trip to Saviti in the heart of the jungle, which was an option offered to us. Our safari inside Shobe was unforgettable. We saw 2 lion prides at close proximity, a ton of elephants, kudos, deer, hyenas, wild bears, zebras, and giraffe. A boat ride in the delta offered views of several hippos and crocodiles and alligators. A trip over the Okavango Delta in a twin-engine plane offers breathtaking view of migrating animals over the delta. Though I must confess, you have to take Dramamine before the trip. A hearty breakfast of aloo parathas and yogurts supplied by the only restaurant in Kasane, which happens to be owned by an Indian, brought smiles to our faces and helped in easing the anxiety of seeing animals so close to us. All in all, once in a lifetime trip. The guide in Botswana still keeps in touch with us and was hurting during the pandemic. We sent some money for him to tide over the pandemic. We were scared to stay in the jungle camp, but now we feel we should have done that. The guide suggested that we should camp in the jungle for 3 or 4 nights and offered to cook any kind of food, including Indian food. That's generally it is actually. And, I did meet one guy recently who had stayed in South Africa
I
for
have,
about 3 years. And he was telling me that what he was telling me was during the white rule, things were really much better. The blacks are good people, but they still don't know how to manage. And they are in, it's a long way before they can do it. Some of the photo shots are being shown. Here is that in Cape Town, the penguins.
is this the penguin or is it, what is this?
No, this one is different, but I think penguins will get it some, I think let me see. Yeah, this is the Cape Town area, what they call it lion face. And we both on the Cape Town. And this is that a view from Table Mountain. Table Mountain is a flat mountain and you can get a 360-degree view of the whole Cape Town. It's a very beautiful place. And here you see the hippos in that river close by. We went by, and then these are the kudus and the deer. And elephants, they come in batches and they go in the water. And, it's a beautiful scene to see them bathing. And zebra, the way, they're so,
Giraffe.
they go for the, giraffe, sorry. They go to the tall trees and, plucking the plants, leaves. This one is, in one of you, while going from Johannesburg, you can see some formations. It was so beautiful. Maybe the picture was not taken well, but a lot of rock formations, which were amazing. Yeah, these are some of them. And this is the Victoria Falls.
Oh my God, this is so much bigger than Niagara Falls.
It's much bigger, but I would say that the best fall I have seen is the Iguazu Falls in Brazil, Argentina. That's much, much better than Victoria Falls is simple, but it's not well managed, I would say. But Iguazu Falls is so huge and so well managed. That trip is memorable. But anyway, this is Victoria Falls on one side. I think some of the dead animals in Botswana. The lions at such a close quarters, you get really scared. It's an open jeep where it can easily attack, but it looks that the lion never attack you when they are too little. You have to see them only in the morning around 6:37 when they do their, they go and get some animals and then they eat as a pride, as a group. And then they are sitting, they won't do anything, no harm to you, so long as you don't hit them or do anything of that nature. But so it's very, very close. We might be hardly about 4 feet away from them, but they don't touch you when they are fully fed. Probably just like us.
Amazing.
They are all stay together when they go. And then the beauty of it is, as soon as they finish the food, you will see all the vultures coming up to take the whatever is left over. First the hyena comes, then the vultures come. It's all very systematic. So the lion, it takes it. Once it finished, it just walks away. Then the hyena comes and start eating. Once hyena finishes, then vultures come and starts eating. These are the praise for them. See, look at the, water is so low, but how he bends to get the water. This is from the flight. The delta. You can see all the migrations going on. See, it's called delta because it's a whole water. It's only in a circle. So the same water keeps flowing. And they all cross one by one each area and come to Zimbabwe. This is a hiding of an alligator waiting for a prey. And that's a hippo, old hippo. Crocodile or alligator, I don't know that. And this is a lion, of course. This is a male animal, male lion. These are the zebras. They also, the beauty of it is each has got their own territory. They don't try to go into the other people's territory. So the only place where they get caught is in the water when they go for drinking. Otherwise, they stay in that place. Zebra stays, giraffe, lion, everybody. But the place where they get caught is when they go for water.
I think that's your last one.
Thank you. So that's all I said. And as I said, it's really, I think it's going to take another 20, 30 years before South Africa will be really better. But there are a lot of corruption and, after the blacks took over, the other one was, but people are very nice, sometimes you feel, there are a lot of freedom. And so, maybe it will take time for them to get used to taking some responsibility along with freedom. That's what is missing still. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll start moving.
Balu, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a question. First is, I want to add something because of my own association with South Africa from 2007. I've been going there every year till 2016, purely on business. So I've seen the country around. What the important part of history that I wanted to add was that Anglo-American, the company I worked for and continue to work for as a director of India, even till today, we took over a vineyard. It's very difficult to pronounce it. It's Verlegen something, and it starts with a V. This vineyard has a history of 300 something years, but we took over only in 1987. What is historical about this vineyard is 1990, when Nelson Mandela was released from the prison, they had to have a ANC meeting for the first time in a free, as a free citizen, then about to form the government and all that, to have discussions with Botha and then form the government. The first meeting of the ANC was hosted by my company. Anglo-American hosted them in that vineyard where ANC members from all over South Africa came. We hosted them 3 days, 4 days. They had a conference. And after that, the decisions were taken, and then he went and had dialogues with Botha and then formed the government. The rest is history. That is one thing that I thought I will share with you. And I've been to that vineyard. I've seen all the pictures, heard enough and more from people who were present in those meetings as kind of hosts. The second thing is more of a comment. I do not believe for a moment that South Africa is doing badly in comparison to the white regime. It depends upon the dimension with which you look at it. The amount of suffering that the blacks and the Indian population had kind of puts the entire governance of white-dominated apartheid regime into such a depth that whatever is being done today is about 100 times better than what the regime was, maybe 1,000 times better. So it depends upon what prism you are looking at as today's world. It's a very, very young country. For the first time after hundreds of years, they have been allowed to do some kind of a self-rule. And it is an evolutionary process. If you go back in history and look at what kind of government existed in the United States of America 300 years back or 400 years back, it won't be much different, I'm very sure. So you're not giving them the time to go through the process, change leaderships, come to something. And initially, the people have been so much affected. And I'm going to talk about Nigeria later, and I'll tell you what is corruption and why corruption and all that. So you cannot look at South African leadership, the governance and everything through this prism of corruption. India, after 70 years, 80 years, where are we in terms of corruption? So that's not the prism we should look at. In the 12, I should say 9 years of active visits to South Africa, sometimes 2-3 times in a year, and interacting with the people are wonderful and they are making progress. It's going to take another 25 years to think of something that you believe is reasonable. But what is reasonable is a question. I leave it at that.
One thing I wanted to say, South Africa has been ruled over by the Dutch people and British. They have always been fighting with each other, it seems. And Dutch were worse, it seems. That's what I understand. The British were slightly better. That's what they say, but the Dutch were really bad and they treated them very badly.
That kind of reminds me, if you go to a 90-year-old person in India, probably he'll say that the times during British rule was better, and it's all bunk up. The times today are far better than
that is true.
Okay, good.
No, I think, that's what it is. 20 years it will take, but it's not just corruption, it's also theft and, murder, that's high.
Poverty.
They're just not able to manage it.
Anybody else have any other point?
Yes, I recently saw that there are white slums in South Africa.
Yes.
Where they don't have water, they don't have food. They are really in bad shape.
Right. That is one. The other thing is also what I noticed was the Indians and they are fighting against the Indians, the blacks. They are in Durban area where the Indians are getting scared. Now, they are being harassed because they have been successful in business. The blacks have an animosity against them now.
They are extremely exploitative.
That's true.
Again, Matthew, sorry to come back again. There is something called as BEE in South Africa, Black Empowerment Movement.
Yes.
And in that movement, what the government did was they agreed that the Indians suffered equally during the apartheid, and they put them as also equal people in the BEE scheme. Right. And Indians being Indians, and the bulk of the people who migrated were either Gujarati or Tamils, even though they went as labor and lower class workers, some of them went as even lawyers and other things. They picked up, even during the apartheid regime, enough education, and therefore they were able to take advantage of BEE in a big way and amass enormous wealth. There is a Gupta family, very famous for corruption and everything. Okay, so naturally, the blacks are now not so much happy with what the Indians have done later.
Good. Any other person? Sampath, I have a question for you. How did you feel when you were so close to the animals? Were you really scared? Or
it was a little scary, but guide had told us not to make any movements. Not even, he also told us, be careful when you take pictures also, that click sound. You see, it seems the lion cannot see a separate person. They see the whole thing as one group. The way their eyesight is that way. So they said, don't make any movements. If you make a move, then it knows it's separate. So he says, just don't make any move, just stay quiet. Don't try to take photos where the click sound comes. And in fact, I have some of the pictures where you will see 1,000 clips, tuck, 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 people taking pictures. And he was that's the time when you get scared because you are disturbing them. But, so long as you don't make a big movement, it seems there's no problem. And actually, ours was, it's all open jeep, and in Botswana, they are not allowed to carry guns, even the guide. So you don't have guns. It's an open jeep, and you are staying there.
Cool, man.
Sampath, has there been any incidents where the people were attacked? And did you say that the tour guide, any of the guys, do not carry guns in case?
No, yes, they are not allowed to carry guns.
But has there been any incidents where people were attacked?
Maybe there are one or two rare, but not in a big way or anything else.
Okay.
As the guide really knows when to go. Like, as I said, when the line is, it had its foot, it won't hurt you. It won't. And if you don't make a movement, if you make a move, then it gets scared. So it starts jumping on you. It's not that they want you because they're already full.
Right.
So don't make a movement, then they are okay. Why don't you go and try it?
Good, Sampath.
Disappointed. Can't carry a gun.
Huh?
Shankar will be very disappointed. He can't carry.
A good one, Matthew.
Yes, Sampath, thank you.
Thank you.
Your turn to talk about Tanzania.
Okay. I made about 6-7 trips during the 90s. So the story is quite old.
Matthew, do you have any slides or anything, or you are just going to talk?
Nothing at all. I'm just talking.
Okay, good.
I never took any pictures.
No problem. Go ahead.
I don't take pictures generally. Kashi hates me for this. Anyway, so I was basically almost all the visits except the last one I was doing for the Swiss Development Cooperation to provide software for animal management, mainly dairy and milk management. And it was in the 90s, so it was basically DOS software till almost I finished. And so these trips were basically about 2 weeks long. Each of them was about 2 weeks long. And the last trip I'll talk about later. The trip starts by landing in Dar es Salaam, and then in the very first trip, the first thing he did was he put me, as soon as I got out of the airport, they had very good vehicles, Toyota, Land Cruisers and things like that. And we drove for about 6 hours immediately. This was the Dar es Salaam Lusaka highway, the Tanzania Zambia highway. It's one straight road for more than 1,000 miles, and we had to go 800 miles.
Good.
So,
I brought up a map of that so I can figure it out. Good. Thank you.
So Dar es Salaam to Zambia, and it's a one straight road. And I was going from Dar es Salaam. We stopped for the first night in Morogoro. You can see Morogoro when you see that. You see that line, yeah. And then you keep driving, and it's one straight road. It's an amazing road. It's hardly any traffic, but you suddenly hit potholes which are 6 feet deep and about 4 feet wide. So they come at this 70, 80, 90, 100 kilometers, and they miss one of these, and you see lots of such trucks on the roadside. Anyway, my drive was, it took us almost 1.5 days to go up to Mbeya. We went past Iringa. Iringa is a kind of a middle-level highland. Initially, it's all plains, and then you have this middle-level island. You have this savanna-type thing, and then Mbeya is actually the southern highlands. It's very close to Malawi. Anyway, most of my work was in Mbeya for the first few trips, and I was met by Dr. Chow, who is PhD in dairy management. I was very lucky that I got this damn assignment. Anyway, in Mbeya, there basically I was in the first trip. I was put into some mission hostel, and it was crazy because I couldn't go out of the room. There were no toilets upstairs, and they would let the dogs out at night, so I couldn't go to the toilet. Life was rather difficult. Next time I decided I would stay in a hotel. But anyway, I learned a little bit of Kiswahili, the language that you need. The people in Tanzania, perhaps all over Africa, are very clannish. The tribe and the clan are very, very important to them. And in fact, every form has a tribe and thing and so on about. But it's a very sweet sounding language. And the Bantu people are really very, very gentle people. Perhaps most Africans are fairly gentle people. The food was unbelievably plain. It was extremely difficult most of the time with the food because, their maize is their main crop. I think it was an imported crop, and almost everybody has just maize, nothing else. And they make a kind of a porridge, a totally tasteless porridge with maize called ugali, and they have nothing to accompany it. And, that's what most of them eat. At the time I went, it was Tanzania was in a state of desperate poverty. So much so that, people could, if you wanted to take a bus from an outside suburb into Dar es Salaam, it would take about 1/3 of the month's salary for a fellow. So you see people walking for 18 kilometers up to work and going back home, walking back 18, 19 kilometers. They start very early in the morning and they go. Anyway, the only recreation they have, of course, is sex, but this was also in the high time of HIV, so life was very, it was rather beginning to catch a serious issue over there. And the other thing they have is ulanzi, which is a kind of a maize-based fermented drink, much stronger than beer, but probably not as strong as a distilled spirit. And you see lots of people just lying in the middle of the field after having drunk themselves silly. The landscape is just unbelievable. It is, on one trip, I remember it was raining at one point, and I saw a minimum of 36 rainbows all over the place.
Wow.
It's really unbelievably beautiful. The land is extremely fertile, but people don't know how to use it. So, Iringa was a little better in being a little bit of highland. Mbeya was beautiful, but it's desperately poor people at the time. So, if you had $1, you were in serious trouble because people were desperate to get any kind of money, and the exchange rates were just out of this world. I think if you put this in perspective, the Westerners have exploited these lands quite unbelievably. I think Balu has covered that also. Mainly in Tanzania, it was the British and the Germans. And of course, the Indians have continued with that incredible exploitative scheme. Just like the Guptas down in South Africa, there were a few Gujarati families, maybe Marwari families in Dar es Salaam that controlled incredible amounts of finance. I worked in the last trip with the Pepsi people, and I was staying with the Malayali finance director of this place, and he told me how they swindle people. You know, they present the same bill 4 times over, and they collect money 4 times for the same work. And you know, they really incredibly they are terribly exploited people at that time. I don't know what the situation is now. I also spent in between Iringa and Mbeya. There is a place called Sour Hill. It's I don't know if you will find it on the map. You maybe have to look for Sour Hill. But it's a fascinating place. It was doesn't matter. Let it be. Nothing, an interesting place. Now, in Sour Hill, they had a bull station. They had about 400 bulls, and these were being looked after by a British fellow. And I can tell you, the British in Africa are much more patriotic than the British in England. And so I stayed with actually the Swiss couple, but I visited these British people a few times, and you know, they had their evening whiskey and all kinds of, you know, I mean, they lived a very, very British life, you know, steak. Were desperately poor. They were all growing a little maize and trying to find a way to eat themselves. Anyway, going on. Of course, I saw a lot of animals. I went one night into a safari park, but otherwise I saw animals along the way, and it's the same as what Sampath described. You know, you see the wildebeest, the zebras, the this and that. I saw a few predators, but not too many. I share 2 stories with you. One is that once when I was leaving Mbeya for going back to Dar es Salaam to get back to India, it's a 800-mile drive, and I love to drive, so I used to take over the car. But anyway, as I was getting into the car, they said there is somebody who wants to go to Dar es Salaam with you. Will you give him a lift? He's a vet. So I said, absolutely no problem. So he got into the car. And just after we leave Mbeya, being the highlands, this is where all the vegetables and things are grown. So he stopped at this vegetable place and bought, I think, almost an hour and a half. He spent shopping for, you know, vegetables and things and all that he could carry to Dar es Salaam to his family there. And then we continued on this journey, and then I asked him, why was he going? He said, I am trying to save my son. I said, what happened? Well, he said, my son has had a snake bite, and they don't have anti-venom in Mbeya, and they don't have it also in Iringa, so I have to go to Dar es Salaam to collect anti-venom and bring it back to Mbeya to try and save my son. Now, this was going to be a 3-day affair before he could get back to Mbeya with the snake venom. On a subsequent trip, I did find out that his son survived. So I felt a little better with that. So that was one experience. The other experience was that I used Ethiopian Airlines quite a lot. And one of the trips back to Dar es Salaam was, we stopped at Dar es Salaam to Kilimanjaro Airport. Now this airport runs parallel to Kilimanjaro, south of Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro actually is on the border with Kenya. And it lands kind of, parallel to, a little further, you'll have to go towards Kenya, a little further up the map. You see Arusha, you see Moshi, and you see that turn in the you see where the line has been turned around a little bit. You know, this is a straight line that divides Tanzania and thing, and you know, it bends around Kilimanjaro. Just where between Arusha and the Savo West Naval Park. What you see is actually the Kilimanjaro crater. This is a single mountain which sits in the middle of Africa, goes up 15,000 feet. And so you land parallel to this crater, parallel to this mountain on the south side. And then he takes off from there. And then it's 15,000 feet. So he goes once around the mountain, and then he climbs once more around the mountain, and then he dips so that you can look into the crater of Kilimanjaro, which still has ice in it.
Wow.
Before he flies on. That was an amazing experience I had. So I didn't do too much. I was kind of interested because my wife spent about 6 years in Tanzania when between 2 and 8. She was in that place Tabora, which you can see at the left-hand bottom corner of the thing. So that was one of the things that attracted me to Tanzania. I can say I really enjoyed these visits to Africa. They were short, sweet, and wonderful. Thank you.
Amazing. Questions for Matthew?
I read a book about, I don't remember what it's called. It's by Michael Crichton, right? The guy who writes Jurassic Park and all that. So this fellow, he's been accused of having a death wish about 6 times in his life. One of the times is this guy wants to climb Kilimanjaro. He comes there. By the time he reaches the bottom of the mountain, he's already got warts in his feet. And all the doctors suggest to him that he should not even plan to attempt to go up. But he insists on going, and somewhere in the 2/3 of up there, I think he gives up because they had to carry him down. That's when I realized that this is almost, what is it, 15,000 feet, Matthew?
1,000 feet height. And you can't climb it straight. I mean, you have to go along the side. So.
All around, yeah.
But you hear of people who go up and come down in one day, all the way to the top.
Yeah, they're fascinating though. It's not, but I think these are good stories.
Yeah, here is Kilimanjaro. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And the other place that is really fascinating over there is Ngoro. That's another crater which has its own thing. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I didn't get a chance to visit it. I did visit Arusha. And then there is another place called Chalinze between Dar es Salaam and Morogoro, where they make these fantastic tin cars. They cut up the old tin stuff and they make cars with it. Shiny metal cars, which they sell, which is really quite beautiful. So you find, there are little cultural things. I don't want to go too deep into all this. I enjoyed it certainly, and
amazing.
Mostly I enjoyed the people.
Oh, excellent. Very nice. Any other question for Matthew?
Matthew, just one question. Did you have any conversation of the period of Julius Nyerere and after? What is the significant impact there?
Yes, the main thing that Julius Nyerere tried to do was to break the clannish thing. What he did was, every single region had its own tribe and clan, and these were always at loggerheads with each other. So one of the things that Julius Nyerere did was to send all government servants very far away from their homes to kind of mix up the population somewhat. And what this resulted in was a lot of illegitimate children all over the country. And they really you know, they got kind of messed up altogether, but I think it was done with the best of intentions. And probably to some extent it succeeded in removing a little bit of the clan tribe thing. I remember seeing the Maasai. The Maasai are wonderful people. You know, they're really incredible. We saw a little Maasai community. That was another great thing. You know, these people, they make a small cut and drink the blood of the cattle when there's no water.
Wow. Good. We move on to Balu about Nigeria.
Like Matthew, I don't have any pictures. I'll tell you the reason later. But at some point of time, I'll request Chetan to bring up the map so that certain things I can explain.
Sure.
Let me tell you, I did not visit on travel. I lived in Nigeria. Uma and I lived in Nigeria for about 2.5 years, 1981, 82, and part of 83. And that was the first time they also had a democratically elected government all over the country, including the president of the thing and all that. By the time we left, 6 months later, there was a military coup and something else happened. Okay, but that is history. You said first impression. Let me tell you, my first impression about that country is the people. Amazing people. Most friendly, very hospitable. They do not carry any ill will towards anybody.
Wow.
Expatriates are welcome. They treat them with a lot of respect. Even some British were still left when I went there, and today probably there are less people. Quite a few of Indians started to be there when I was there, and then now it's in fact probably even a little more. But they are so friendly. They have absolutely they blend and they make sure that the expatriates are comfortable, so on. So first impression, and perhaps a lasting impression, and it's even there today, is the friendliness of the people. Just a bit of coincidence, 81, 83, we lived in Nigeria, and 3 years back, my son got married, and my Sambandhi was working in Nigeria at that point of time. So he, in fact, the first call I remember that he made to me, he said, I'm calling you from Nigeria, one Indian expatriate in Nigeria to an ex-expatriate who has lived here. So you understand, blah, 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 and all that. So I have been hearing from him about how Nigeria is today. It is not significantly different in some ways. In some ways, it has, of course, progressed in the 20 years, nearly, a little more than 20 years of the time being. Nigeria is not a place for tourists. There are no major tourist attractions. It's not as if the landscape is fantastic. There are a few mountains and hills here and there, but otherwise, it's basically a flat country. But if you look at Nigeria as a country today, it is the largest country in terms of both population as well as economy in the whole of Africa. It's bigger than South Africa. Many people think just because the South Africa was ruled by whites for a long time, their economy would be better. No. Nigeria is a $500 billion economy consisting of 200 plus 210 or so million people. And it has two major religions. The Muslims are about 55, somewhere in the region of 55, 59, 60%. And Christians are about 40, 45%. There are small religions which are there, but you can say at least 50-40 is the Muslims and the Christians. And the Muslims have some kind of a dominating role in the governance for whatever reason historically that has happened. Lagos was the capital when we were there, and later, even at that time, there was a plan to shift the capital to Abuja, which you will see in the center of the country. And it was shifted, and the capital was in the making when we were there, and later on it was made. And Abuja became the capital. But then you can say Abuja is like New Delhi, Lagos is like Bombay, the commercial capital. But Abuja has not transferred itself completely like New Delhi, where there is business also quite a bit in addition to being government. It's more a governmental kind of place even today. Small businesses are coming up. That is one aspect of it. The other aspect is some similarity with India. Too many languages, too many dialects. I think about 300 or so language plus dialects. But everybody speaks English. And there are two types of English people speak. One is called the Pidgin English. They spell it as Pidgin. Pidgin English, you will understand everything that they are saying, but do not expect any grammar and proper sentences and all that. The other thing that I found, which was very interesting, was everybody can speak. Everybody is an orator. If they want to speak, even simple things like farewell meetings, if you give somebody a microphone to speak, he can speak forever. And the language that they will speak will put a Brit to shame. They will speak like Shashi Tharoor. That is the kind of language they will use. Fantastic, very difficult to pronounce and very difficult to even use in common day-to-day language. They will speak put all those words, and they know the meaning, and they will use it appropriately. But that's only when they are speaking to an audience, because they want to impress people. That's one of the things. The third thing that impressed me about the people was music is in their blood. And you go to a market and you want to go and buy, let's say, you walk into a shop. The guy is not walking to you asking you, what do you want? He is dancing towards you. There is music in the background. And in between listening to that music and dancing, he will ask you, Oga, what do you want? And Oga means boss. I mean, amazing people in terms of music. The other thing that also impressed me was they can dance like nobody's business. And you will think a woman weighing maybe 100 kilos or 110 kilos or 120 kilos, how is this woman going to dance? And you should see her dance. Amazing how they move their hips and their bums and their whole body. Even in a funeral, it is there in some cultures, but in this Nigerian culture, it is very, very unique that a funeral is celebrated. It is not mourned. It is celebrated because the spirit has gone to the other world, heaven or wherever, and therefore there are group dances to celebrate the occasion. Here I will digress a little bit. It is a plus and a minus in a way. The tribal, like in other places, the clans, there are so many tribes, and every tribe has a Maha chief and then smaller chiefs in each village and all that. So the village chief is kind of God for that village. So if the village chief is hosting a party, he will eat the food first. The reason is he will show to the rest of the guests there is no poison in the food. You can eat it, no problem. And he will serve a drink also. But the culture is that any drink that the chief is serving, the last drop of the drink should only be served to him. The reason is he is the host, and therefore he will open the next bottle. Because if the last drop is poured to a guest, then that guy is supposed to open the next bottle, which is not acceptable. So there are small cultural things like this, which make that place extremely interesting. Food, they will eat anything that is moving. But they also have to have some staple food. The most popular staple food is pounded yam. I tried to eat this pounded yam. It would not go below my throat. I gave up. The second one that they eat as staple food is the root of cassava. It is fermented and prepared into what is called as gari. And this pounded yam or gari, they are made into small balls by themselves. They'll pick up a piece and then they'll make it into a ball and dip it in a soup, which will have the meat. They'll put it, dip it in the soup, put it in their mouth and eat. I tried many times. I couldn't. I could only manage the third type of food that they eat, which is semolina, which is like our rava or something like that, which is okay. We can manage. But those guys, their body, the physical build and everything is not just coming from that meat, but it is coming from this pounded yam and cassava that they eat as a food. There are four major tribes, you can say. There are many sub-tribes. Hausa, which is primarily in the north and predominantly Muslim, is about 25% of the population. Yorubas, who are what I would call a southwest, they may be about 20%, 21%, somewhere like that. They are mostly Muslims, but there is also a lot of Christians. And there are Igbos who are in the east, and they are about 18% or so of the population. They are predominantly Christians. And there are a few other, there's one called Kansai or Canary or something like that. They are about 4 or 5% population. But as I said, religion is one thing, tribe is another thing, and then within the tribe, the clan is another thing. So their social structure is so good. I say, we are like you. I said, what do you mean? We have the extended family system in Nigeria. And when they mean extended family, it is much beyond what India can think of. One of the primary reasons for the corruption, even corruption is very big today. They are very rich in oil and they have money, and that is why the economy is good. Exploited again, lot of profits going to Britain and other countries in Europe. But nevertheless, fundamental reason for a Nigerian to be corrupt, in terms of education, lesser number of people occupying good positions. And the money is floating around in the business community and not in the teacher, local official, small communities. Now, in addition to getting a good salary, it's not a bad salary at all, each individual who is well employed, he has to take care of extended family. That is his duty. So if supposing the person is employed in Abuja, he has to maintain a home in Abuja, he has to maintain a home in Lagos, and he has to maintain a home in village. And he has to make sure that the entire family is given enough food, shelter, clothing, whatever is required, because he is the lucky guy within that clan, within that family, who has found a job, who has found education and everything. And if there are, let us say, in a clan of 150 or 200 people, 7 or 8 people have these jobs, they have to take care of the entire 200 or 300 people. They cannot go away from that. And that is why they will openly tell you, I have to feed more families than what you think you can imagine. So it is called dash. It is not corruption. So I'm taking this. And everybody knows, and that's how it goes. It gets spread throughout the population in a different way. Still, there are poor people and all that. That's another thing. The other thing about their way of life that appealed to me quite a bit, and it continues even today as I hear, people think that everybody should lead a good life, high life, they call it. So if a person is, let us say, a clerk or a worker, I used to work for a cement factory, and a worker in the cement factory, after my first month salary, I was in a nightclub in a large hotel, 5-star hotel, having a nightclub. A few of us had gone there. Uma had not joined, and we were bachelors there. We said, let's go and see how the nightclub in Nigeria is. And I found several of my workmen there dancing. In fact, some of them had come with their wives, girlfriends, and all that. They came to me, invited me to dance with their wife, girlfriend, whatever. And the next day I asked them, hey guys, you are all enjoying life. Very nice. This, you can all afford to do that. They said, no, master. First week, high life. Second week and third week, normal life. Fourth week, hungry, master. And I really saw at the end of the fourth week, they were only eating banana and peanuts. They did not have money to eat anything else. But the next week, they were in the nightclub dancing and drinking and eating food. So this is unbelievable to me that, we think, we will give I'm talking about, let's say, middle class family. They will start planning how much for rent, how much for education, how much for food. They will do all that. There will be a budget, and you should also save for the rainy day and maybe daughter's wedding. They don't do anything of that sort. Money today in hand, enjoy. Tomorrow there is no money, God will take care. Don't bother about it. And they survive. So this is another fascinating aspect of their life that I would say was good. But tribal war, things of that nature are very, very common. I have written in one of the, I think Yahoo group or some story I have written once about how when we had to do some mining of some iron ore, how the chief demanded that we have to sacrifice for the earth and do a puja. I call it as puja, prayer. And the prayer meant sacrificing. Normally, they would have sacrificed a human being. They allowed a concession that we need not. And so, 1 cow, 4 goats, 25 chicken, small things, and plenty of drink and dancing. They invited me also to participate. I did not go because they may end up sacrificing one human being also. Territory, clan, these are all amazing things that they do. There was a Biafra war. I do not know whether you all heard about a Biafra war between the Igbos of the East Christian-dominated population. Finally, they were Biafra's war.
I think Balu, you may want to.
All I'm saying is,
finish up.
amazing mixture of culture.
Good.
Amazing mixture of people. Very good place to do business with even today. Good systems, good court, everything good. So if you want to do business, go there. Travel, please don't.
Good. Excellent. Any question?
Amazing, Balu. I really like the way you brought in all the aspects, such as culture, tradition, the way they dance when in the grocery store. Lots of interesting tidbits. Thank you.
Including the dash.
So Matthew and Balu, I have a question. So these countries you talked about, do you go as a tourist or is it, Balu, you already said Nigeria, go for business. Matthew, how about Tanzania? Is it for business or is it for tourists?
Visit Tanzania for tourism because there's a lot of natural beauty and there are a lot of animal parks and things like that. But take it with a good tourist agency because otherwise you can end up in really rotten places with food and water very suspect. On my way back once in Dar es Salaam airport, I was dead thirsty and I didn't want to change $1. So I asked the guy for a glass of water in the bar. And he looked at me, but finally he put a glass of water. I took one sip and I could taste the shit in it. So I didn't take any more, but I had to go from there to, I was on some Gulf Air, or no, it was some Gulf thing. I had to go there, go down to Bombay, and then the following day I was supposed to go to Switzerland. And after getting into the plane at Abu Dhabi, I think I was in the toilet all the way to Bombay, and I was in the toilet in Bombay. From when I landed, I managed to get through the airport. I had a place, and then I was in the toilet all the way till it was time to go back to the airport. Fortunately, not eating anything, and cleaned everything, and I was able to travel. But it can be miserable if you are not very careful with water and so on.
That happened to me in Pune, of all the places. They took me to this 5-star restaurant, and I had a great lunchtime and all that. There's a guy who used to work with me, very dear like my little brother. And in the evening, he said, Murthy ji, let's go have some drink. He said, this is a happening place. And they brought me water. And I said, no, I want bottled water. Oh, this is bottled water, he said. I drank it, match over, till 1 o'clock 2 o'clock in the morning, when I arrived in Bangalore. Next day, the driver told me, sir, you didn't even know what was happening to you. That's how bad I was. Pune, of all the places.
You know the famous word called Delhi belly?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I had those, I used to be very careful when I went to Indian trips. And then I got slowly, I said, well, now I can my, fourth or fifth or sixth trip at L&D. And the guys told me, oh, no problem, Murthy ji. And I think as soon as they said no problem, the problem started. And they had to bring in a company doctor. And the guy said, oh, none of your antibiotics work here. He said that this you must take. And the guy kept calling me every 2 hours, are you taking it? Are you taking it? He said, you'll be all right by tomorrow. But not quite tomorrow, but the day after I was okay.
Yeah, that was about traveling to Africa. You have to carry everything you need.
Yeah.
All your medicines, all your everything you have to carry yourself. You won't find a single thing. I mean, in the days when I traveled, I'm not too sure what the situation is now. Except in Dar es Salaam, anywhere outside, there's absolutely nothing available.
Difference.
Now,
You don't have to carry anything. Everything is available.
Oh, in Nigeria.
Now you carry a doctor along with you.
Do you know who are the doctors in Nigeria? They're all Indians.
I know. But, hey, what do you think are in USA? So I'm telling you, my GI doctor is Bandhopadhyaya. My cardiologist, Gangopadhyaya. My main doctor is Maya Patel. And then there is another, my neurologist is Dr. Vasish Patel. All very highly, anyway, doesn't matter.
Good. Ajmal, your chance to talk about Italy. We now change over to Europe from Africa.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this, I'll talk about the trip. I may not talk much about Venice per se, but then I'll talk about the trip, my small experiences. In fact, I and Nu traveled not as a group on our own. It was customized sort of tour. It was a 10-day trip to Europe. We spent about 5 days initially in Switzerland, visiting various cities in Switzerland. Then 2 days we spent in Paris. In the last 3 days, we decided to go to Venice. For Venice, we took a flight from Paris to Milano. I think it was EasyJet. And then from Milano, we took a bus to Venice. And the hotel was arranged by an agency from India. So the agency was also the Swiss Travels. So they had some good quality hotels. So Venice, we reached by bus, and then we took another bus to San Marco, where with an entry point for Venice. Up to San Marco, I think we can reach by road and then take our vehicles, whatever. But beyond San Marco, there is no vehicle allowed, no cars, no scooters, nothing. Everything is all by water only. And there are plenty of water taxis which are available, and then we need to commute by that. So we took a water taxi from San Marco to our place where the hotel was located. Language was slightly a problem because most of them they speak only Italian, and then not much of English, though there were plenty of tourists. So we took a water taxi, and then we proceeded towards our hotel place. Somehow we overshot the water station. We landed at the next station. So yeah, so we didn't know what to do. So they said you cross the point, so you can't. This boat goes further. So we had to get down. We got out of that this thing, the water taxi, and then we didn't know whether to have to take another ticket to go back or what. They heard that sort of the chip system where it's a active chip system where you charge and use it. So we went to the counter and then found out that we have to buy another this thing to go back to the next station. Each travel there used to cost €7. If you buy a chip for €7, you just do one travel. You get in and get out of any station, it's out and it's valid and it's out. So he said you have to buy this thing. Then I showed my chip, and then he checked the chip and said that its full balance is there. They did not use it. So I said, no, we came by the boat. Then he didn't know, he didn't understand. Then later on we realized that we have to use the chip in the when you enter the boat, which we didn't do. We just entered. Later on we found people are using it, and then though it was getting reduced. So anyway, we used that chip to go back. But meanwhile, the interesting thing was when they were waiting there in the station, you found, can I share a screen, Chetan?
What do you want me to do?
I need to share a screen.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to stop. Yeah, now share it. Yeah,
Okay.
you can go and share it. It should work. Hopefully.
I like Ajmal's chair. It's colorful.
I have no back to my chair, Murthy.
Yeah.
Are you able to share, Ajmal?
Yeah, place for view. Where do you get? One second.
The bottom you will see one share.
Share.
Screen.
Yeah.
There is a share screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I see it.
Okay.
Now I see. Now I see your screen, Ajmal. Good.
Okay.
You got it. You
Yeah.
got it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So now the next one will be Bali, is it, after Italy?
No.
After Italy is, I'm going to talk about Chile.
Chile,
I think,
Chile.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Chile because we don't have Kumaresan talking about Germany today.
Yeah. This is what you found, when we were waiting in the station, which we overshot and then this thing, waiting for the next boat to go back, you found suddenly Hotel Rivera. This is where we came from Cochin. We traveled from Cochin to Venice, and we used to stay in Rivera. So we found a Rivera there. That's very interesting. Yeah. So then we went back, and then we closed the screen. How do you stop sharing the screen?
You have to click
You
on
are sharing. You are sharing. So you just had to click it. I see your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we had a nice hotel stay, and then we went around. The next day we had supposed to go out on a tour on our own on a boat trip to different places. Venice is a city of almost 120 islands, I believe. So we stayed in one of the islands in a hotel. The first hotel was a good hotel. We had our lunch, and then went in the evening. We came back to San Marco. San Marco, it's not San Marcos, it's Saint Marcus, but it is San Marco, it's called. And then somehow we were feeling hungry and we wanted to eat something. Noor said that we should eat, which was almost end of the tour, 1 week of European food. So let's look for some Indian restaurant. So we were hunting around for Indian restaurant. Somebody said this way, and all that. Finally, it was very late, and then we couldn't locate one. So we went back. We said we'll go back to in the hotel. So we went back to the hotel, and then the dining, we went to the dining area and then we said what's available. So there was one waiter there. He said that the cook has gone back. After 9 o'clock, the cook is not available. This is supposed to be a 4-star hotel, but I said cook is not available, so we can't eat anything. There's nothing is available. We can't eat anything. But maybe he said there is something in this thing fridge. He had some what do you call that?
Pizza.
No, not pizza. The chicken.
Pasta.
No, lasagna. So he said lasagna. Lasagna is available. So vegetarian lasagna is available, and then he can serve it. So Noor said, I wanted to eat Indian food. You didn't give me, so I don't want lasagna. So I said, okay, we'll have one, and then at least we taste it. And then we are looking at the menu, and then the lasagna was costing, I think, 12 euros or something. So I said, okay, instead of ordering for two euro lasagnas, we'll go back to the room, order one, and then you can taste it. It doesn't look good to share it in the dining room. Yeah, it may not be allowed in Venice, perhaps. So we went back to the room, ordered a room service, ordered one lasagna, and then it came, and then it was a horrible lasagna. Somehow, I don't know, maybe when they made it, we don't know, it was not good. It was not worth eating. Then he also brought the bill. The bill was for 32 euros.
Yeah,
I said,
more than service charge.
Yeah. So 1 euro was 12 euros, and then the one lasagna was 2 euros, and service charge was 20 euros. So he said, okay, what lasagna for 32 euros? So that was the story of eating lasagna there. After that, of course, Noor will never eat lasagna. But I had a wonderful lasagna in India, in Pondicherry. A chicken lasagna I had. It was very nice. Yeah, that was a lasagna story. Next day, we went around this thing, tour, on a tour, where before boarding the boat, we met an Indian couple. So they had some company. There were two main islands they took us to. One is the Burano, other one is the Murano, I think. Burano is a place where they make a lot of lace work. It is nice to see the place. And also another thing that Burano is famous is for the fishermen's buildings, houses. Their apartments, they're all painted. Each building is a particular color, one color. So it looks very, very colorful if you look at that. So we enjoyed the sightseeing of the city, the town, the island. And then we suddenly found there's a small crowd there, which was looking very unusual crowd. So we went out close and found that there was a boat there. In the boat, there was one coffin there. And the coffin was very well decorated with the flowers, and then people were sort of, I don't know, praying or something. Then we found that all the dead bodies are taken to a particular island and then buried there. No burial in individual islands. The whole of Venice, all the dead bodies taken to one place, and then few people are allowed to follow the body, and then they bury there. After they bury, I believe the body is kept for 15 years or something. After it's guaranteed to be there, in the sense buried there. After that, they can maybe dig up and then for further burials. But the option is that it seems if you want to keep the body for a longer period, you pay for that, and then they allow that to maintain the body. So this was the Burano. Then we went to I think it's called Murano, where the glass work, they take the glass work, the showpieces. It was very nice to see. It was a good trip to this thing. Another peculiar thing we noticed in Venice was that it's very clean. All the streets are very clean, and then people are very polite. And though they don't speak, because not many people speak English, in spite of this being a tourist place. Something I can. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this is the boat we're boarding, and then there's a water taxi. They're very helpful to. It's a little bit of a task to climb the boat. Yeah, so they're helpful. Yeah, these are the thing. The coffin and the boat, decorated boat, and this must be the locals. For these are all the tourists. This boat gets taken there. Yeah, this is what I want to see. Then after we came back, this was a short trip, so 2 or 3 days trip in Venice, and then had a good time, liked it. We came back to Cochin. It was, I think, 2013 or 14 we visited there. We were planning to settle down. Somehow we thought we'll go to Bangalore. So we're looking around Bangalore to buy a house or flat or apartment, whatever. We went around, hunting around Bangalore, and finally we found a place, an apartment called Purva Venezia. So the effect of Venice was still there. So we went and bought a flat there in the Purva Venezia, which had the landscaping same as the Venice, the waterways and things like that. And so that apartment is still there. These are the after effect of Venice visit. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about Venice or Italy, whatever.
So let me understand. So the place you bought was in Kerala, in the backwaters. Is it in that area?
In Bangalore.
Oh,
Bangalore, yeah. In Bangalore, they created in apartment, they created the waterways, and then
Yelahanka, isn't it?
Yelahanka, yes, Yelahanka.
So it looks like Venice. Oh.
Yeah, I have a flat there, Balu. Yes.
So you have rented it out to somebody, is it?
Yes, we rented out to somebody. Yeah, it's a fully furnished flat.
But it's supposed to be a good place.
Yeah, we thought we'll settle down there. Noor was keen on that, but then I wanted to be in Chennai.
Okay.
So we left the flat.
You want the heat.
Yeah, Chennai is Chennai. Number Chennai.
Number Chennai.
Yeah.
Very.
I have been to Venice also with my wife, and it's a beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. It is a beautiful city. Very different, as you say, because everything is on water, and you have to, like even the hotels are where you are staying is in the middle of some island, and I know what you are saying, and we had to lug around our luggage and find where the heck the hotel was in one of the bylanes. It is in some little place, and nobody talks to you, so it is tricky figuring out. We are absolutely
supposed to be a real romantic place. Did you take your
absolutely.
wives and gondola and have them sing songs and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I think Italian culture is fantastic. Really, very. I like that. And as I think I mentioned to you one of those times, with all the travels I made, the only place I got mugged is in Italy. One was in Rome, a central station, and another place is in a museum in Milan.
Okay.
So Ajmal, Italy is one of my favorite places also.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the food and the people, and then Usha and I did go to Venice, and then we took the train from Milan, I think, and then what happened? We were staying in the we didn't plan on staying there overnight, but ended up what happened was we missed the train in the evening.
Okay.
And so we changed our plans. We stayed in St. Marco's overnight, and then left the next day. So it was, really liked it, and all those beautiful canals and the gondolas and all.
Surprised that Ajmal did not get food at 9 o'clock, because I've visited Venice only once, and the most important thing I liked was the food.
Yeah, but then the cook had gone away, so we they couldn't help.
The hotel though, but you
I was
can.
so surprised.
It's a hotel, yeah.
It was supposed to be a good hotel, but he said the cook has gone home. I can-
I've gone to the street and just found something. There's lots of food around.
Yeah, but then we reached back the hotel, Matthew. The hotel is somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's romantic.
Yeah, that's what we did. That's how we missed the food.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Ajmal. And now it is my turn.
Thank you.
And because Kumaresan is missing today, so I think he is not able to make it. So I'm going to talk about Chile. So this is again a change from what we were, all the continents we are now changing. So we are now changing to Chile. So let me share a PowerPoint I created on this. So you can see that, actually this I went on a 1 week business trip with my colleague. We ran a conference there and we were there, I think, for 10 days, if I'm right. So Lakshmi did not come, it was just myself and, but we did quite a bit of looking around Chile, at least near the capital city, Santiago. And you can see the map of Chile in the right here. And you can look at it that it is kind of a little strip on the left side. And so it is a very interesting country. Again, like Balu, I had no clue what to expect of South America. I never been to South America. So I was kind of worried because I'm number one, a vegetarian. Number two, I don't speak Spanish. So I was pretty concerned as to how this was. But really, the people are extremely friendly. And at least we stayed in big cities, so they always had an English menu. So I had to somehow figure out how to ask them for an English menu. Then they will have at least one English menu in most places, so you can get it and you can use it. And we also had a host who also helped us quite a bit. So we had amazing food. I mean, actually, the food was very nice. I really enjoyed it. So we stayed in Santiago. So the picture you see in the top is Santiago. The picture you see in the bottom is Valparaiso, which I will talk about. So to give some idea about the place itself, let me go to the next slide. Okay. It's very modern. I did not expect it. I really thought it may be, you read about all the drugs and everything in South America. So I was expecting to see really broken down, not very good, but I was very impressed. It's really beautiful. And here you can see the president's palace. We are used to seeing buildings like this in India for the top guys. So it is amazing. And, this is a cathedral that again looks like a European place. And you can also see the skyscrapers in the city where you can look at it. So it's really modern. And, even in the conference, when we talked to all the people, they were fairly well educated, very interested in a lot of things. The only thing is, we talked in English and we had to have a Spanish translator. So somebody has to translate everything into Spanish. And when they asked a question, they had to translate back. So it is a little tricky, interacting with people because most of them, including faculty members, don't speak English. So, the language is a barrier, but, it is no big deal. So the Santiago is a beautiful city. We had a wonderful time, a lot of cool things to see. These are some basic facts about it. If you don't know it, it is a sparsely populated country. This is it's a pretty large country, thin strip going all the way. And you can see that in the sense of population density, it is the 198th in the world. So, once you go out of the big city, there is hardly anybody there. So not that much. And GDP wise, it is 43rd in the world. So it is a fairly well-to-do country. one of the things I got a chance to see, which is, I will talk about it again. This was very cool about Chile. You have mountain on one side and you have the beaches on the other side. And it's only like 4 hours apart. So from Santiago, I think we took a bus and went to this Valparaiso beach around hour and a half, 2. And you can see the beach, beautiful water. You can see the people running around it. One of the cool things about Valparaiso is this kind of tram, like you see it in India, like you can go up and down the mountain. They, I think, call it by some other name. I'm trying to remember, but it'll come later. But, vernacular, they call it as a vernacular. So you have to buy tickets and, so to go from the top to bottom, you have the option of walking down and up a lot of steps, or you can take these vernaculars. And of course, the vernaculars, like most touristy things, are in the middle of a shop. So you don't even know where the entrance is. It's like going to a casino. You have to walk through the shop, look around, and then suddenly you will see the entrance to the vernacular, and then you can go down or go up. So it is very cool. I mean, I think I possibly went on this just for fun couple of times because, I don't get to do something like that. And it is very interesting to see in the Valparaiso. The other very cool thing, which, because we had a tour guide, they made sure we went to that house is of Pablo Neruda. I had no idea about this person. He is a poet from Chile. He won the Nobel Prize. And I have 2 poems. I went to the web and got 2 poems from him. You can read it as I am showing it. I'm not going to read it. I will talk about his houses. The cool thing about this Pablo Neruda was he is a national poet there, very well off. And you can see the kind of house he designed. It's it's very different. And the one in Valparaiso, I went and visited it. And what is amazing about that house is a little stream was going through the living room. So right in the living room, there is a real stream, like they had built it so that the stream with water was going through. So you can kind of go into the house and, that is a natural stream, it's not like artificial. So they had actually built the house like that. So, I think they are very proud of Pablo Neruda, just like in India, we are very proud of Rabindranath Tagore, Shantini Ketan. Similarly here, they are very proud of him. So wherever you go, you hear about Pablo Neruda and his poems and how powerful his poetry was. And the first one is about, I think, some of what you guys talked about, Spanish rule many of these countries. So it talks about, Salvador and all the issues. The second one is more about a women. And I actually put something which is, easily shareable. If you are wanting, more erotic poems, you can go and read it. He wrote a lot. I think he wrote all the time. So he has got a lot of poems ascribed to him. The other place we went to, which was amazing for us, because the organizer said, hey, you saw the beach. Now let us take you to the ski slope. So we went to this ski slope, El Colorado, which is only around 2 hours from Santiago. And you can see the way it is built. It is beautiful, very nice ski slope. Of course, none of us ski, but there was snow. When we went, there was snow there. And of course, we took the ski, what's it?
Cable car.
Yeah. So we took the cable car. We went up to the top of the mountain and saw everything, and then took the cable car and came down. And of course, everybody was looking at these Indian guys, because everybody else was skiing, but we don't know how to ski. So anyway, it is very cool. I mean, and it was cold. So it is kind of funny to go to the beach where you're wearing half pants and everything. And here we had to dress up and wear our jackets and all that. and just the two of us on the other side. So to me, that is a lasting impression I have about this. Chile is the extreme of that. You got these huge mountains, amazing Andes goes through the whole country, and on the other side you have beautiful beaches. So to conclude my talk about Chile, to me it is an amazing country. I think somewhere in the future, I'm sure I would like to take my wife and go there again. And I have been fascinated about this. So I read a little bit about this country, and Inca were the ones who were there for a long time, around 400, 500 years back. There is an Inca civilization, and I really read a book. I just put it up, Inca by Jeff Mix, available in Amazon. I read the book. It is a great book. It kind of combines history with a story, and it really talks about the whole culture. Just like you guys were talking about Africa, when you talk about Inca, you can see this was an advanced culture. They used to use money, but they did not have any coins. They used ropes, and there are people who will tie knots in the rope, and depending on how many knots you tie, that is the kind of money. That is how they used to use it. The other cool thing they did, which was amazing, is because it is a very hilly, mountainous country, like every 20 miles or 10 miles, they had silos, and they will store the food and weapons in these silos, and had few guards there. And so, like if it is winter, there is no food available, then you go to the silo, just withdraw the food, and all the population will be fed. So the question of having famine and having to transport suddenly was not at all needed. They had an amazing system of having food and weapons in silos, and Incas managed it like that. But again, good things can be bad things. When the Spaniards came in, after the Spaniards landed in the northern part, and they came to Chile, it is again, that book really describes about it, because there are a lot of soldiers from Inca. There are only maybe 200 Spaniards who came on horses. There are not that many, but it is amazing that the guys use, basically the story says that there are a lot of internal feuds amongst the Incas themselves, a lot of the son brothers fighting amongst the brothers who are then going to be the king, things like that. And they used it, and of course the Spaniards had an easy time, because when they came in, all these silos were very helpful, so they did not have to carry anything. Even when they brought other people, they just came in. They did not need to have a supply chain, because the supply chain was already on the way. So they just went and raided all the silos and took the food. So it's very interesting when you can see that. But it's a but anyway, now it is you will basically see people from Spanish and Indian mix, as is what you see. As I saw, the people are very friendly, wonderful people, and I have some contact there. They are very nice people, and overall, I really enjoyed it. It's a great experience going to South America. Any questions?
Shankar, we went to Peru. Also, it's one of the South American countries, and we went to Machu Picchu. This is maybe 15 years ago, I think. Again, the Inca civilization, is very much there. And, yeah, it's a very interesting place to go to.
Did you go on a train to Machu Picchu, or did you walk there?
No, I didn't do that Inca trail. We flew into Lima, and then from Lima to Cuscus, and then from Cuscus we took a train to Machu Picchu, and then I did a bus and a train, and so yeah.
Wow, cool.
Walking is a bit difficult. I've never been to Machu Picchu, but Chetan, brought a lot of nostalgic memories for me. I've been to Chile 3 times on business. One of the things that you have not covered because you are not in that business. Chile is the world's largest copper producer.
Correct.
And we have a mine, copper mine. And it so happened that for one of the mines, I organized supply of some slurry pipes. We call it a SAW, submerged arc welded pipes from here for about 65-kilometer length of pipes from India. So in that connection, I've been there a couple of times. And once we had a conference there, a global conference in Chile. Valparaiso, Santiago, both cities I've been there. Absolute nostalgic memories, wonderful places. The one additional thing that I did, apart from whatever you did, was because of the mine, I climbed not by foot. I went up the Andes Mountains to a height of about 11,000, 12,000 feet.
Wow.
That is where our mine was situated. The first 9,000 feet we drove, and then, the mine spreads and then keeps climbing up. So the last 2,000 feet from the base camp or base office, over a period of the whole day, showing this, showing that, and then coming back down, I climbed that. And I had to go with a special doctor's certificate that I can climb, and I will not have oxygen issues at 11,000, 12,000. I went there, I did it very comfortably. I could outpace some of the Chileans who were there. But that all depends upon your own. I did it for one day. They must have been doing it for every day. So it's a different sort. But the view from there is just fantastic. And even when you go down to Santiago, you will cross the Andes Mountains, and the pilot will bring it down as close to the mountains as possible and show you fantastic view. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing this. Lot of memories.
Oh, fantastic.
The Peru airport is at a very high level, is it not? That's what I heard. When you come out of the airport, you feel breathless. And Gopal, you had been to Peru, right?
Yeah, I've been to Peru. Lima, Peru, that's on the coast. And then, we took a flight from Lima to Cuscus. And that is at 13,000 feet altitude. And there you see the altitude, you feel the altitude sickness. Usha didn't feel it, she felt it more than I did. And then Machu Picchu is actually a little bit lower elevation than Cuscus. So normally they take you there to Cuscus and then get acclimatized to the altitude. And then you go down a little bit to Machu Picchu. Yeah.
You want a high airport, you go to Bhutan, to Paro.
Oh, okay.
I think one of the problem with all this is, if I'm understanding about the height, because I have been at Colorado at 14,000 feet, and that I think you have to stay there. The pain is, like when you said from 8,000 to 14,000 and come back, sleeping in the nighttime is pretty bad. I remember, I was in 14,000 feet or something for a conference in Colorado, and I had to take sleeping tablets in the nighttime, otherwise can't sleep at all, And many of my colleagues had a terrible time. And we had a conference, we had to work, so it is not fun at all. Though it is a beautiful sight. And so when you saw Machu Picchu, were there trees and all at that height, or no trees at all? Gopal?
There were, I guess, at the mountain top, it's mostly in the rock formation, and all, but then surrounded by very hilly trees and streams of water and all that. And one of the recommendations, to handle this altitude sickness is they give you some water, like the tea, like made from cocaine, I think. That supposedly helps you a little bit, because I think that kind of they recommend you drink the tea to handle the altitude sickness, and I think that did help.
Cool.
Gopal, Machu Picchu has different levels. There you needed to climb on foot. Was it?
Yeah, once once we got to the top, primarily you walk around, But to get to the top, you can take the train and the bus, and but a lot of young people, they do this Inca trail over a couple of days, and I think they, the people, they make arrangements for them to camp, and then there are people that's go ahead, helpers go ahead and set up the tent and cook their food and all that, and so that's a fairly adventurous hike on the Inca Trail for young people, and we didn't do that.
Okay, any other points, questions? Otherwise, I think we had a wonderful, I enjoyed it, guys. I mean, thank you, Murthy, and all of you for giving me 2 days. I enjoyed learning about all these countries and people, and we have covered many countries. It's very amazing, starting.
What is interesting for me is that, the people, see, we know these 11 people in our group very well. So I think the way we relate to each other, and the way I think each of us have kind of narrated our experiences, that's a lot easier sharing and understanding what we are saying among ourselves than some other guy coming and talking about Chile, right? So I think it's you said it, and all of us for that matter, gave us what we wanted to get out of this. That is the beauty of it. And thanks a lot for thinking about it. And there is that whole South America is the Portuguese and the Spanish have kind of monopolized that.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for the Spanish company, and these guys, they thought, US market was small compared to what they could get. So they wanted to get out of US market so that they could focus on South American market. And they didn't have any language barriers dealing with them, right? And also I was trying to look through my Kindle. There's a very good book that's written by, I think, Jared somebody, I forget. How the Chilean government has become, how they came out of horrible financial crisis, and they came out of it, and now they're back again in a difficult situation from what I understand. But just like that about Finland and some of the other countries, and Japanese, how they started getting into different, frame of mind, because they saw threat from the West, and they became partners with German, right? And all these things are, very interesting. But bottom line is what Matthew says, which is people are people. Universe is universe. It will take care of itself. All this is, so I think enjoy it while you are on this planet. And don't worry about, which politician is doing what. Enjoy it, contribute what you can. And that's what. So Balu, you are next. You want to tell us what is the topic? You will tell us later on.
Before you do that, Murthy, I
want
want to
later on, because the fact that I will have my own session was only announced today. So give me a few days, I'll come back.
Okay. Kasi, you have been quiet, so I just wanted to make sure Kasi has whatever he wants to share. Sorry.
I really enjoyed this, Chetan. I think this was a great topic. I'm glad we had 2 sessions. It deserved 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I mean, Balu also answered you, Murthy. So thank you, Balu. Good.
Thanks
okay.
a lot. Thanks for you.
Okay then. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Right. Hey guys, see you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.